Very exciting women's race. The men due to get underway now. 232 of them lining up in this torrential rain. The temperature not too bad though. Some 14 nations represented, and there are the standings after 4 races in this World Cross Challenge Series. Jan Milan of France leads with 57 points, but Milan not in this field today. However, just about everybody that matters is John Brown, the reigning European champion, and indeed the find of the winter, is in this field. Past winners of this race there, Gebre Selassie winning last year. Well, he's giving the indoor season, the cross-country season, a miss, and I understand is racing indoors in February. And one distance he's having a shot at is 800 meters, my spies tell me. So that'll be interesting. The world and Olympic 10,000 champion, over 800 indoors. Can you believe it? Guess I'll believe it when I see it. Well, one feature of this course is that there are a lot of twists and turns, and it's fairly narrow in places, and important to get a good start. John Brown in yellow there in 3rd place. As I was saying, the find of the winter, the 25-year-old from Sheffield, currently resting or residing in Teddington up until after the World Cross Country, before he'll head back to his new home in Vancouver in Canada. Brown, of course, was at university in the States for several years and has a great affinity with the US environment, and the road racing circuit has provided very rich pickings for him over the last 3 or 4 years. Well, 46 there, who's gone off very fast indeed, is El Boussi of France. But several names stuck back there in the pack have got a lot of running to do. A largely domestic field, of course, but the top 10 or 15 men of supreme quality, and they include Paul Tergat, the reigning world champion. Tergat, though, has been beaten by John Brown already this season at Lodio, another Spanish cross-country event just before the European Championships. And there's Brown wearing 2. Keith Cullen, also in great form, wearing number 4 there. Another Briton who has performed superbly on the circuit in years gone by, was disappointed at the European Championships, had flu, thought he'd recovered from it, went into the race and in fact had to drop out at Charleroi in December, but coming back into his best form now. '18 is Greg van Hest of Holland, to the left of picture there. No sign of Tergat just yet. He's back in about 12th place, I think. Got a bit of work to do to move up to this lead group. Paulo Guerra there, number 3, goes through, beaten by over half a minute by John Brown in that European Championship race, and Brown denying him his hat-trick of European titles. Guerra, the Portuguese, will be looking for revenge of sorts here, and I understand has actually been peaking for this race. But the distance, of course, just under 10 kilometers for these men. 5 laps of the circuit, a long way to go. Nobody keen to really lay down a hard pace just yet and commit themselves. Van Hest of Holland continues to lead John Brown there, number 2, looking very, very relaxed indeed. Unbeaten so far this winter, John Brown, in 4 races on the Cross Challenge circuit. Beat Tergat at Lodio, as I said. Then he won that European title, improving from 6th last year, or the previous year. Beat Daniel Komen in Durham. That was a memorable clash there. Fabulous race up in the northeast of England, but Brown it was who came out on top again. And then just before Christmas, he went to El Goebar, yet another massive race with great tradition up in northern Spain, and beat, amongst others, Neariki of Kenya, one of the sub-13 brigade over 5,000 meters. So he's beaten just about anybody that matters, really, on the world distance running scene at the moment, John Brown, and has to come in this one very, very confident. I understand, though, it's really one race too many for him. He didn't really want to run this one, having had so much success in recent weeks. He was committed to it contractually from quite a few weeks back, way back in December, and obviously would stick to that agreement and run here. But is very keen, I think, to get back into his training. Doesn't like to race too much. Christian Stevenson also in this field for Great Britain, wearing number 5, Christian Stevenson there, right up towards the front. And Stevenson, like Lucy Elliott, fresh from a win at the UK Inter-Counties Cross-Country Championships, a very important domestic meeting in Great Britain. Well, John Brown, very, very light indeed. Almost tiptoes across the ground. Gets a whammy-like, although he doesn't have that knee lift. Very economical use of the arms. Never really looks like he's pushing that hard, but the ground just flows past him so fast and gaps open up on the opposition. Well, that group of some 25 moving right away now. How will Brown cope with this muddy section? Guerra, the man whose title he took in Charleroi, in second place, looking very strong at the moment. And Turgat too, I noticed, has moved through to the top 6 or 8. Turgat in third, Cullen back and forth, having perhaps his best run of the winter. But John Brown said that he really hasn't been training that hard in recent weeks, or indeed in recent months, since the Olympic Games, or between the Olympic Games and Charleroi in December, which was a period of some 4 months. He said he did just 4 hard training sessions, and yet the good running, the good racing is just pouring out of him. I'd imagine his coach George Gandy up in Loughborough is just wondering what he has to do to hold this man back. And it does augur well for the future. Brown is quoted as saying one of his great targets for the summer is Eamon Martin's British record at 10,000 metres. It currently stands at 27:23, and something I would say that on recent form is well within Brown's capability. However, John himself will want his legs to do the talking where that's concerned. He's just saying he's chasing it. He's not saying he is capable of it. I'm saying that. Well, the rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain. This is a particularly hilly part of the plain, although Seville itself does sit on a wide river valley. This is just up on the hills, some 5 or 10 miles outside the city. The Spaniards, of course, very, very strong in distance running at the moment. Enormous depth of talent. And several big names up in the top 10 there. I'll identify them for you as we get a better look at them. But Brown leading from Guerra. Keith Cullen, another Briton, up in third place at the moment. Turgat is in fourth place now. The man who has looked so impressive in the world cross country over the last couple of years, lifting titles in '95 in Durham and again in 1996 in South Africa. Matola of Ethiopia in the green, back in 5th place. Just running nice and steadily at the moment. No major gaps developing there. An interesting face, though, up in the top 8 in the yellow is Isaac Viciosa of Spain. Now, he's a 1,500-metre man. He ran 3:33 dead last summer. And what great strength and cross-country form he's showing here. Just to the left of picture in the yellow, behind number 12, that's Million Wolde, another Ethiopian. Christian Stevenson up beside Viciosa, having a great run and good experience this for the Welshman. Needs to mix it with athletes of this sort of calibre. They'll drag him through and pull him up into world class. Paul Taylor goes through as well for Britain there. Man who was so disappointed being left out of the British team at the European Cross Country Championships. Well, I can't remember the last time I saw conditions quite as bad as this. If anything, since that women's race, the rain has got harder. Let me just confirm for you, by the way, that in that women's race, it was indeed Fidatov who won from Whammy, Vaquero, Sandel and Ribeiro. Lucy Elliott of Britain finished 7th, and Liz Talbot, a great return to form for her, was down in 10th place. And the overall standings are led by Fidatov from Whammy, with Negura, Vaquero and Subano of Kenya coming up in 3rd, 4th and 5th. Well, this looks to be a different Paulo Guerra to the one we saw at the European Championships. at the European race some 4 weeks ago. There's Viciosa, the middle distance man I was talking about. Guerra has gone away, trained hard, and got it right by the looks of things, because he's looking very comfortable up there at the moment. Brown has made tentative attempts at opening up a gap, but thought better of it in these early stages. Just maintaining the tempo there, knowing that it will gradually take its toll on the men behind him. 7 men in this group and it's beginning to get away. And what a breadth of talent there is. A world-class 1500 man, Viciosa. Tergat, the Olympic 10,000 meters silver medalist and reigning world cross-country champion. Paulo Guerra needs a boost to his cross-country career. Failed to finish the world cross-country last year in South Africa. There he is, wearing number 3. Was absolutely thrashed by John Brown at the European Championships in December. Oh, it has to be said, that was very, very early days in the cross-country season, and a lot of people not in particularly good shape at that point. But he also dropped out of his heat at the Olympic Games in the 10,000, did Paulo Guerra, so the summer didn't go brilliantly for him either. Didn't improve on his personal best at 5,000 of 13:18. It's amazing what a rest from racing and the pressures of competition and just several weeks of consecutive good hard training can do for your fortunes, and that looks to be what Paulo Guerra has done. Interestingly, Guerra and Cullen both coping with that mud slightly better there than John Brown perhaps. Tergat in 4th place, a man who was just out sprinted by Gebre Selassie in that Olympic final over 25 laps. What a race it was. So much criticism heaped upon the city of Atlanta and the organisation generally of the Olympic Games. The vast majority of it quite justified. But you have to say that the competition on the track, the work the athletes had to do, was quite astonishing. And race after race, one event after another, be it in the field or on the track, or indeed on the roads in the marathons, produced some memorable images. Paulo Guerra's quick CV there. 3rd in Brussels. Winner at Fuensalida. Not up against the toughest of competition in that one, though. But looking confident here, Guerra. He's a man who does like to lead. He likes to be in control, use his strength, break away in the middle of the race if he can, rather than leaving it to a sprint finish. Indeed, it's in the nature, I suppose, of great distance runners to try to break away, keep the hammer down on the floor all the way, rather than leaving it to a sprint finish. The truly great distance runners, the ones that can either hang on or make it very fast from the start and raise their game in the last 200 meters. And Gebre Selassie lifted Olympic gold by having just those qualities. His last 200 meters in Gothenburg in 1995, and he sprinted away to yet another 10,000 meters gold medal, was 25.1 seconds. And the vast majority of world-class 800-meter men would be delighted with the last 200 of that time. I'm very impressed with Christian Stevenson here. It's easily the best cross-country run of his young life. Right up there amongst half a dozen men who will feature very highly at the World Cross Country in 8 or 9 weeks' time. Stevenson there wearing number 5 to left of picture. Still only 22 years old, but looking very comfortable as this pace is laid down by Brown and Guerra. Keith Cullen yet to impose himself on this field. Might do good just to get his nose in front and get the feel for what the tempo is, what the responsibility is, if you like, of leading the race rather than sitting in. Psychologically too, the effect on the opposition will be to his benefit. But Tergat beginning to look very easy now, wearing number 1 there. Just the latest in a long, long line of Kenyans who have dominated the World Cross Country Championships. Khalid Skar, one of the few men to interrupt that. But William Sigai and of course the great John Ngugi, perhaps the greatest of them all.